Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all staying safe. Hope you're all having a great weekend. Hope your weekend is off to a great start. Hope you're all staying safe. I apologize, my microphone was muted in that. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I'd like to say up front. This is episode 21, season 9 of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. There's a few things I'd like to say up front. You got a couple more episodes coming out after the 8th take. My thoughts about the whole situation with Deshaun Watson and how the NFL is honestly and truthfully handling that. After 8 recordings, I felt like the 9th one is the best one, honestly and truthfully. As far as the Hall of Fame game, that'd be a separate video. So be tuned in for that. Maryland women's basketball, the women's basketball schedule came out. So we're going to break down that schedule. You'll probably see that Monday tops, honestly. We're starting to get ready for preseason for the NFL. We're less than 10 days until playoffs start for the WNBA. So really, honestly, the 1 through 5, the first 5 seeds, they're locked. It's just really now 6, 7, and 8 to just see who just gets in there. But other than that, there's really nothing much else going on. We're going to continue to follow the Orioles and the Nationals. Basketball right now in the off season, the Drew League. I haven't really been paying attention to that, to be honest with you. Other than that, getting ready for college football too. Maryland, go Terps. Also the men's basketball as well, so be tuned in for that as well. But those are things that are just coming down the pipe. But in this video, we are just recapping the trade deadline for the Orioles in the Nationals. I know the trade deadline was a few days ago, kind of still fresh to me, and I wanted to get a video out here and just give my 2 cents on what I thought of the trades and what I think how they'll impact the team. Now, I'll be honest. I thought the trade deadline was always the 31st. It extended. So I believe it was August the 3rd was the last true day to make a trade. And I'm going to eat my words. I guaranteed on Twitter that Trey Mancini would not be traded. And the Orioles were sellers at the trade deadline. I'm going to start with this first trade. We traded Jorge Lopez, our only lone all-star, to the Minnesota Twins for Yennier Cano, Kate Pavich, Juan Nunez, Juan Rojas. I gave it a B plus. I like it and I don't like it at the same time. Um, yes, I'm all for you getting the pitching you need. You want to grow arms, you want to grow the bats. I'm all for that. Um, I think you could have got more than what you got. Um, I I think the Twins have found their guy, especially help their bullpen. Jorge Lopez was having a great year before he was traded. It just caught me as a guard. It just caught me off guard. This is not like Josh Hader going to the San Diego Padres. Look, he has two more. Jorge Lopez has 2 more years of arbitration, and like I feel like the Twins they needed to upgrade their bullpen. Like I looked at their bullpen, Emilio Pagan and Juan Duran. Like they're having to share the closer duties. Like I feel like they get a little bit of reinforcement there. Like, and I had to do my research on these guys that we traded for. Like they're all decent prospects. Pavich is arguably probably the best one out of the trade. Nunez and Rojas, from what I learned in their Minnesota's farm system, they were not really at the top of the list. But we know the Baltimore Orioles, they always will find ways to make you better. But other than that, I think the trade it off balances. If you pushed me, how would that rate the Twins? I'd say it was a B minus. And Baltimore, I averaged out to a B plus. I think the trade was fair. Um, it sucks, but I understand. This is a business. Um, Probably the most painful trade of all was the Houston Astros. They painfully, and when I mean painfully, traded for Trey Mancini.
You stink. Let me just get that out the way. You stink.
So the Astros got Trey Mamba, Jaden Murray. In return, we got Seth Johnson, Chase McDermott, and it was a three-way trade. The Tampa Bay Rays got Jose Siri. I was a little confused on how the Rays got in there. Well, I'll say this: I believe your Gary Ellis. He's been struggling as of late at first base, and I think Houston has found their temporary solution. Let me say it like that. He's just been slumping. I think he's batting from what a couple weeks ago. I remember last time I watched him play. I think he's almost like towards the 220s, 225s. Like he's been struggling this season, and I don't want to sit there and say it's attrition or age. He's just not having the year I would think is. I want to say since then he's been picking it up. I think he's batting like 240, 230, something around that range. But I think they found a temporary solution to their problem. And also, too, Houston did not give up a lot for him. Chase McDermott and Jose Siri were the only two guys that they traded. The fact that the Orioles, to me, Trey Mancini is definitely, that cog in the machine. He's the true vet, the heart and soul for this team. I was not expecting him to get traded. I kind of felt like the team didn't need to really make a trade, and that's what bothered me. But the Houston Astros, they have gotten a guy who loves the game, who's probably one of the best hitters in the game. Just to see his growth from his debut, watching his debut, I can still see it now, hitting a home run. I remember one game I think we played the Pirates, and he had 2 home runs. He had the game-winning home run. Just to see where he's been from then until now. The last year dealing with colon cancer, and just what he's meant, and even having the last memorable at bat. I felt like that was Mo Gaba to help him get that home run, inside the park home run, because it's now that day was proclaimed Mo Gaba Day. So I wish him all the best in Houston. I hope he considers to come back to Baltimore, because this is what he's done for this organization, what he's done for this community, what he's really done for the city, what he's done. It's just tremendously. You have to give him his flowers. But as for the other guy in our trade, Seth Johnson is also dealing with the John surgery, so he will be out this year.
It is just disgusting.
So actually, he will miss all of next year, painfully. So look, if I had to look at it, Mike Elias, he knows what he's doing. Look, what I expected the longest tenured ball player for your ball club to be traded. It's a business. I think that was probably one of the toughest moves of our rebuild. Again, I've already said his personality, his perseverance, dealing with cancer, different things like that. Like Mike Elias, I know what he's doing. Like he sees what this team is next year, the year after. He has a vision the next 5 to 7 years. That the fact that where we're currently at for the wild, for we're like a game right behind from wild card. I'll be honest, that's fool's gold. Like he's trying to bolster the depth for pitching, and it sucked. And like you want to keep building for that. He did it in Houston. Look, there's tough decisions to make, but when I look at, for example, Chase McDermott, he was Houston's sixth ranked best prospect. Seth Johnson was Tampa's ninth best. Now I do my Googles, I do my research. Now McDermott has posted a 5.5 ERA in the 10 starts, and he's at high AAA in Asheville. I believe he was drafted somewhere around the 130s in the last year's draft. Seth Johnson was the 40th overall pick in 2019 draft. And like I said, he'll be out next year getting Tommy John surgery. I believe he started 9 games this season at high A in Bowling Green. So I think the trade was good. I just think that to see what the Orioles are doing, like, and also too, we have to also understand this too. The Orioles and Trey Mancini, they were unable to come to terms on the contract. Like, he got a $10 million. I think he got a $10 million option with a $250,000 buyout, and like, if you think about it, like, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't risk it. Let me get something for him now. That way, I know that for the future, I'm set. If I want to bring him back, I'm more than welcome to do that. But the fact that he's no longer going to be at Camden Yards, we will see him. I think it's actually in like a week or so. So I wish him all the best in Houston. I hope they take really good care of him. You know, it's interesting. He is actually going to play in a ballpark where it's actually just, it's not like Camden Yards. Minute Maid and Camden Yards are two different ballparks. And I think that actually could give him, that could actually probably sway him to come back. Now, again, the same, I know I don't want to come off my, I don't want to come off like a trade, again, just to see what he's done. Now, gotta think about it. The only truly experienced Oriole left, other than John Means, is Anthony Santander. And I can honestly see him being traded too. So I think the trades were great. But me personally, I see what he's trying to do. It's fool's gold. Like the plan, like he's sticking to the plan. I'm patient. I believe I know what he's doing, and I just want to just see now. Okay, now I can see who you're going to build around. You know, yeah, it's going to hurt that your veteran is gone, but this is an opportunity for you to now be leaders for the young guys. You see a Jorge Mateo or a Teran Vera. You see young guys like that. You just see the seeds there. You see it. You see the greatness for the Orioles. So again, all the best of luck to Trey Mancini in Houston. And I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to finish the year off with, I'll say, he'll finish the year off with 40 home runs.
Guaranteed.
Now, we're going to move on to the trade you all been waiting for. And the Washington Nationals.
You stink. Let me just get that out the way. You stink.
I'm going to reiterate my comments right here, right now. The clock is officially ticking. The honeymoon is over. Damn your feelings. Who gives a damn? You got a job to do. And the job ain't even a championship. It's to be respectable. And you can't even do that?
I don't know. Maybe y'all can help me out and make sense of this to me. I don't know. I think I know a little bit about the game of basketball.
Well, I apologize for playing that clip. The Washington Nationals really did it. They traded Juan Soto, Josh Bell to the San Diego Padres for Mackenzie Gore, C.J. Abrams, Robert Hassel III, James Wood, Jarlin Sazana. Where's my clip? Did not expect to see this coming. I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, actually, Eric Hosmer was supposed to be in this trade, but he, which is smart, but I get it. I hate it at the same time. He had a no trade clause in his contract, and Eric Hosmer. Jesus. Instead of Eric Hosmer going to the Washington Nationals, Eric Eric Hosmer is going to the Boston Red Sox. And instead of Eric Hosmer going to the Nationals, Luke Vogt is now Washington National. Like, again, I'm gonna keep it above. The Nationals aren't a good team right now. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Them winning the World Series in 2019 was their peak. They were at the top. I am a firm believer in sport, and this is in any sport. I am a firm believer that you cannot win championships when you got a core that is older, and on top of that, you got to pay people, especially when you are a small market team. It is hard. Your window to compete for a championship, if you're a small market team, in my opinion, is 3 to 5 years. Think about this for a second. You traded Bryce Harper the year before. Anthony Rendon's now in Anaheim. Now you trade Juan Soto. Then you traded Max Scherzer in the offseason and Trey Turner. Now, I have also been very vocal on this. I am one of those where, okay, Juan, you can be a piece of rebuilding this franchise. And to me, I don't think it was about the money. I just don't I don't think he wanted to play for the Nationals anymore. I think there was no trust. I think it was the way the Nationals handled it. I think to go out there and try to sign and try to half-ass you're trying to way to compete. That's just not how you win games. Mike Rose knows that. But I just think also too, I think what really, really set things off was the fact that the Nationals they're not going anywhere for the next few years. I understand from Juan's perspective, I'm not going to commit long term to a team where if I sign this 15-year, what's the first 5 years looking like? But in the same breath, and it's documented, when you pay guys long-term deals, I think that hurts your team. I just don't think 10 or more years is the right way. And I'm just going to say it right here. I am not a believer in the San Diego Padres. What the San Diego Padres did, they pulled a 2015. If you remember that season, ladies and gentlemen, that offseason, they practically, I don't know, I can't remember who the GM's name was, but I think his name was AJ Preller. The moves that he did, he brought in the Upton brothers, Derek Norris, Will Myers. He had traded Joe Ross to the Nationals. Jose Valverde. He signed James Shields. And then he got Craig Kimball. For Carlos Quentin, Cameron Maybin, and Matt Wisler. Ladies and gentlemen, that year, the 2015 team, they won 74 games and lost 88. That team alone, right there, you'd say to yourself, wow, Yonder Alonso, Matt Kemp, the Upton brothers, Will Myers. That should at least get you at least 89 wins. They don't make the playoffs. That's what happens after that. But that year, they started the year off, if I remember correctly, they were 32-33. Bud Black was the manager at the time. They fired him. Dave Roberts comes in for one game, and I forget I can't remember who the interim manager was. Next year, they bring in someone named Andy Green. They completely blow the team up. The San Diego Padres that year, ladies and gentlemen, they traded 7 of their top 11 prospects that offseason. I'm not sold on this Padre team. I'm not, because I'm sorry. I like Brandon Drury. I think he should be comeback player of the year. I know right now the San Diego Padres are 61-49. But I'm just not sold on them as a team. Fernando Tatis Jr., can he stay healthy? Acquisition of Josh Hader is okay. You paid Joe Musgrove his money. Now you got to think about this. And you're going to have to pay Trent Grisham. You have to pay him some money. You're going to pay Juan Soto. You'll probably have to pay Jerickson Profire, Jake Cronenworth. You're going to have to pay these guys at some point. I'm not sold on the San Diego Padres. I see the same exact thing like 2015. I think the Padres will make the playoffs and they'll lose in the first round, if not round 2. I'm not sold on this team. I'm just not. I think it's you can put all the sexy pieces all you want to together, but this is the same team last year. Everybody hyped up, and it didn't make the playoffs. The acquisitions are great. They are great. I'm not taking anything away from what they've done. They're playing decently well. I'm just not sold on talent-wise, personality-wise. Come this month of August and then September, what is this team going to look like? I'm not sold on it. Now, when you look at what we got in return, Mackenzie Gore, who's proven he can be a starter in this league. C.J. Abrams, I think, who has the potential to be one of the best shortstops in this game. He was their number 1 ranked prospect. He's number 9 ranked. He was the 9th ranked prospect in baseball. Mackenzie Gore, he was the 4th best prospect. I believe Hassel was the number 20. Was number 21. Mr. James Wood, I believe, was number 3 in San Diego system, if I'm saying that correctly. And then Jarlin, he was the number 1 international pitcher in his class. I think he was number 10 as well in San Diego system, if I'm saying that correctly. Like, the talent for the Nationals is, without a shadow of a doubt, some of the best. I think you've got a rebuild right there with those guys. Now, again, to me, I just think when that 2019 team, now it's all gone. Like, now, okay, you've now committed to a full rebuild if you're Mike Rizzo and the Nationals. What are you going to do now? Yes, you won 4 divisional titles, a wild card, a pennant, and a World Series. But I remember I think it was after the 08 season he had taken over. I think that year they just come off losing 100 games. And again, I just feel like I don't want to say he's like Mike Elias, but I can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to build the team from the ground up. He's trying to build a core for years to come. Again, I just don't think you're going to win a championship with Max Scherzer, and then they're just older. Guys were just getting older, and it was time to move on. You got for that period of time, just as successful as the Nationals were, it was time to move forward. Like, I feel like they did very well in this draft. this past draft. I liked it. Now, or do you just we gotta see what he does? He goes from here. Like, would I keep a guy that turned a 15-year deal for $440 million down? No, I'm going to trade him because I just think Mike Rizzo did enough to, one, say we're committing to a full rebuild, and we'll see where it goes. If you pushed me, these guys should not be up here this year. I know Mackenzie Gore's dealt with a couple injuries this year, but I don't think he should. I don't think these guys should be rushed. And I think also too, he has some work to do because the talent that he's put out there, that pitching rotation. I will be honest, with the exception of just Josiah Gray, Patrick Corbin has to go. I'm sorry, he just has to go. Steven Strasburg, it's time to move on from him too. He's getting look. Oh, that's what I'm saying, y'all. They're old. They're older, and you've gotten what you got out of them. It's time to move on. Your rotation consists of Corey Abbott, Paolo Espino, Anibal Sanchez, Josiah Gray. Your probably best pitcher in that is Josiah Gray. And don't get me started on that bullpen. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. The Nationals, they stink. They really do. They're 36 and 73. Like I just think that the moves that he made, that's nothing to me. It really is nothing to me. So, that being said, let me know your thoughts about the trades. What did you think? Really throughout Major League Baseball, the trade deadline, what did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts below. Ladies and gentlemen, be tuned in for future episodes. Again, please like, comments, and share the podcast. I really appreciate the support you're giving me and this YouTube channel. Much, much appreciated. My closing message is I want to send my thoughts and prayers to the family of the great Vin Scully. He passed away. Again, one of those voices on TV, on radio, one that gave me the inspiration that inspired me to become to pursue sportscasting. I mean, for 67 years, just he's called football, he's called basketball, baseball. We all know his most iconic call was the Kirk Gibson home run off Dennis Eckersley. I know he's done some other stuff, and but he retired to Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, without a shadow of a doubt. Arguably one of the best voices to call a game, in my opinion. But God has an angel, and there will always be Dodger baseball. And I want to go out with a little closing message from Mr. Vin Scully. That being said, thank you. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, share the podcast. Rest in peace, Vin Scully.
Friends, so many people have wished me congratulations on a 67-year career in baseball, and they've wished me a wonderful retirement with my family. And now all I can do is tell you what I wish for you. May God give you for every storm a rainbow, for every tear a smile, for every care a promise, and a blessing in each trial. For every problem life seems a faithful friend to share, for every sigh a sweet song, and an answer for each prayer. You and I have been friends for a long time, but I know in my heart that I've always needed you more than you've ever needed me. And I'll miss our time together more than I can say. But you know what? There will be a new day and eventually a new year. And when the upcoming winter gives way to spring, rest assured, once again, it will be time for Dodger baseball. So this is Vin Scully wishing you a very pleasant good afternoon wherever you may be.
But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. Thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.